All right, Seattle Seahawks coming to town, taking on the Bengals. Bengals favored by 3 here, the 3-1 Seahawks against the 2-3 Bengals. I think the big question here is, was last week the turning point where we're going to see the Cincinnati Bengals team, particularly on offense, that they were the last couple seasons?
Yeah, I mean, really, just specifically Burrow. His leg looked better. He's moving differently. He's not protecting himself the way he was when he first came back. He's practicing without a sleeve on the leg. That calf looks pretty much back to normal. I'm sure he's not 100% yet, but the difference between him against Arizona and him in the previous couple of games was really stark. He was doing different things and reacting in a different way and being more aggressive. And you put all those things together, and that's an offense that functions. That's an offense that actually works and can be what they were previously. Can get the ball and absolutely dominate. I mean, Jamar Chase also then sets, not set a record, but joined a handful of players that have had, 15 targets and 3 touchdowns and stuff. They just made the game, let's go through Jamar Chase, let's throw the ball to our best player as many times as possible, and that still works.
It's a lot of fun matchups in this one. So that means the way they're using Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, all over the formation, outside, inside in trips, he's going to see the great Devin Witherspoon, right? The last time we saw the Seattle Seahawks play was Monday Night Football. They're coming off a bye. Monday Night Football, they sacked Daniel Jones 10 times, Paris Campbell 1 time, and Devin Witherspoon he had the pick 6, right? It was pick 6. And Witherspoon's just making a name for himself. He's got a sack in there. He's flying around the field. All the reasons why we love Devin Witherspoon during the draft. It was like we saw it all in one Monday night game. That dude just is fun to watch, man, and really good. So we'll see some Witherspoon, Jamar Chase matchups, which will be great.
Yep.
We'll see if Charles Cross is back at left tackle for Seattle. But that's, the one guy that's playing really well on defense is the Bengals edge rusher, Trey Hendrickson. Pushing a 90 grade right now. Hendrickson off to the best start of his career. Sack totals, pressures, the whole thing. So there's some great matchups in this one. But when we saw Seattle, I think it's the last 2 weeks now, they beat up on the Panthers' offensive line and they beat up on the Giants' offensive line.
Yeah.
And the Bengals are actually better than both of those teams on the offensive line, but not by, whatever. They're in the same tier, even though the Giants are creating a tier of their own.
Yeah, I don't think they're in the same tier.
They're in the bottom third of the league. The Giants are in a special tier, though.
The Bengals have a reasonably poor offensive line. Those other two might have the 2 worst offensive lines in the NFL that are catastrophically non-functional. That's a different tier.
My point in all of this is, where's Seattle's pass rush grade? Seattle's pass rush grade is 5th right now. What I want to know, how much of that is a function of, the other teams that are up there all played the Giants pretty much.
Yeah.
How much of that is playing the Giants? How much, literally, of the top 5, 3 of them played the Giants? Actually, the top 6. 4 out of the top 6 pass rush grades all played against the Giants. So every year in Seattle, I'm looking at their pass rush and thinking, okay, when does Pete Carroll get this thing back? They have not had a really good pass rush in 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And so are they back? Are they there? Or did they just play the Panthers and the Giants, and that helps things?
Yeah, it's such an interesting element of that defense, right? The Legion of Boom. We always think about that as just the guys in coverage. The Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, even the back 7. But that front 4 was nasty as well. The best front 4 that they had there, and then it just slowly got chipped away at, and they never really restocked properly or never really managed to replace those. And they tried. They've drafted pretty high ranked, high positioned edge rushers, and they just haven't worked out. So it is a big part of this defense that they're trying to get this done without the sort of foundation piece that everyone's looking for.
They are playing well over there, though. So you're seeing flashes from Boye Mafe and Mario Edwards playing well. Jaron Reed, linebacker Jordan Brooks is questionable, but he's playing the best of his career. Bobby Wagner still sitting there as the highest graded Seahawk because that dude just doesn't get old. He still graded well last year with the Rams, even though they didn't do much as a defense. Hoping to get Jamal Adams back after the concussion. He only played, 2 snaps the other day? What was the actual number?
I don't know, but it wasn't much.
So there's Seattle's defense is fun and ascending, but again, I want to see more. I want to see that consistency from the defensive line. On paper, it looks like, hey, they might be able to cause some problems for Burrow and the offensive line.
He played a whole 9 snaps.
It was 9, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wasn't counting. I just knew I tuned into the game, and a little bit after the game, he came out.
Awful. Like that, he was the poster child for like bad tackling technique.
Yeah.
Like head towards the ground, launch yourself at a guy's knees, and sometimes the knee is going to crack you in the head, and that's a concussion.
It was not great.
Like there's a reason, even NFL tackling, that whole heads up, blah, 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 let alone rugby tackling. I mean, it was bad technique, and it's a risk to everybody when you do that.
Anything else you're looking for matchup-wise? I think, anytime you're trying to match up with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, going to put some pressure on the Bengals corners, who have been, a little up and down. Chidobe Awuzie and Cam Taylor-Britt. Taylor Britt had a pick 6 the other day, which we described on the review podcast, was kind of thrown right to him. Model guy DJ Turner has been balling out when they get him out there, so I wouldn't mind a little Turner versus Tyler Lockett matchup. Could be a nice one, but that's just another matchup to watch here. Geno Smith playing pretty well. Seahawks have a chance to go to 4-1 here. Remember, they kind of laid an egg week 1. Was it week 1 against the Rams? But since that time, playing much better, closer to expectations. So.
Yeah, against some pretty terrible teams.
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting game for Seattle because it's a good barometer of where they are, which I don't think the last couple of games were. So for that reason alone, I think it's going to be a good one to watch.
I believe this would be the first time the Seahawks have seen Jamar Chase. You're running out of
teams that are surprised by him.
Yeah, surprised by Jamar Chase's speed teams.
Yeah, that's true.
Because remember, the old theory, the first time you see Jamar Chase, you're just like, ooh, there he goes. There's a slant for 80 yards. Watch out. All right, where are you going with this one? Bengals are favored by 3.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting given what they've done so far this year. I guess people are buying into Joe Burrow being back. At home, all right, let's give credit to the Bengals. Let's say Joe Burrow is back and they cover 3 just.
I'm torn on it. I think I'll lean Bengals, but even in that Arizona game, they're kind of a not fluky pick 6, but the pick 6 is what really led to turn that one into a blowout, which was a bit of a fluky play. But at the same time, even Burrow this week at practice, I don't know if you saw, they're doing drills that he hasn't done before. Like, he's moving better. So if we're saying Burrow's back, Chase looks dynamic. T. Higgins has been banged up. You're not getting that same support, but I think that foundation is getting stronger for the Bengals. I'll take them covering the 3.